CBP says it's 6.5 million per mile. Your response today was 12 million per mile. That means $12 billion for 1,000 miles. We're off here by a factor of 3 or 4 with 46 billion. Where's the rest of the 46 billion? The administration says they want 46 billion for a wall. You could pave all of it and still have, 34 billion left over. What's the 34 billion going for?
598 of that are steel. The rest of that is temporary. That's in place. Since the president's been in office, over 70 miles has been erected. We have 11 contracts that have gone out and allocated. We also have 5 more that are pending. Based on the dollars that have been requested, it's not just the infrastructure that would be built, that would be the actual wall construction. It would be also surveillance equipment.
The number's way off. You could do 1,000 miles for 12 billion. You're asking for 46 billion. So I'm one who's not impressed and would have to see more detail as to where the rest of the money goes. We can't just throw $30 billion out there and say things cost a lot.
I agree.
Welcome back to Right View Nation, the home of bold truths, fearless patriots, and unapologetic conservatism. If you love your country, hate wasteful government spending, and are sick of being lied to by bureaucrats, then you're in the right place. Today's episode? Buckle up, because Senator Rand Paul just did what no Democrat and far too few Republicans have the spine to do. He looked straight into the face of government excess and said, enough. Let's talk about this so-called border wall funding. The Biden administration, yes, the same group of people who want open borders, amnesty for illegals, and who sued to stop wall construction, is now asking for $46.5 billion for the wall. Hold up. What? Senator Rand Paul broke it down for all of us. The total southern border is about 1,950 miles. Roughly 700 miles are already fenced or walled. Out of the remaining 1,200 miles, at least 200 to 300 are mountainous and virtually impassable, no wall needed. So we're looking at around 1,000 miles that could be realistically walled. Now, based on current cost estimates from Customs and Border Protection, it costs about $6.5 million per mile to build the wall. That's a total of $6.5 billion for 1,000 miles. Even if we use a bloated estimate, $12 million per mile, it's still just $12 billion. So where is the rest of the money going? Why do they need $46.5 billion? What happened to the other $34 billion? Senator Paul asked that question straight to the Secretary of Homeland Security.
Secretary knows, everybody knows, that's the end. We're going to try to move on to the next person to get you out of here. We talked a little bit about the wall earlier. The administration has asked for $46.5 billion for the wall. The border on the Mexican border is about 1,950 miles. We've fenced or walled about 700 of it. That leaves about 1,200 miles. There's 200 or 300 miles of it that probably never going to have a fence on. It's mountainous or just impossible to fence or wall. So I would say realistically, you got under 1,000. But let's just say there's 1,000. You really want to wall on 1,000. CBP says it's 6.5 million per mile. Your response today was 12 million per mile. That means $12 billion for 1,000 miles. We're off here by a factor of 3 or 4 with 46 billion. Where's the rest of the 46 billion? The administration says they want 46 billion for a wall. You could pave all of it and still have, 34 billion left over. What's the 34 billion going for?
Yeah, Senator, thank you for the question. We do have 702 miles of wall today. 598 of that are steel. The rest of that is temporary. That's in place. Since the president's been in office, over 70 miles has been erected. We have 11 contracts that have gone out and allocated. We also have 5 more that are pending. Based on the dollars that have been requested, it's not just the infrastructure that would be built, that would be the actual wall construction. It would be also surveillance equipment.
The number's way off. You could do 1,000 miles for 12 billion. You're asking for 46 billion. So I'm one who's not impressed and would have to see more detail as to where the rest of the money goes. We can't just throw $30 billion out there and say things cost a lot.
I agree. We'll get you the specifics on that.
With regard to the drones and all the preparatory work that DHS does and the government does for the NFL and for FIFA, does the NFL pay DHS for the work you do?
Boy, not to my knowledge. I will.
Well, I mean, here's my point. The NFL makes billions of dollars. We're $2 trillion in the hole. I don't care if government shares their technology and government helps out the World Cup. They ought to pay.
Yeah.
People are paying hundreds of dollars for tickets. I mean, thousands of dollars for the NFL, for Super Bowl and things. They're also paying for FIFA. And so these people ought to pay. And so I'm one holding up these authorizations, and I'll let them go forward. But I want people to pay. I mean, it's ridiculous that the average taxpayer who could never afford to go to an NFL Super Bowl has got to pay for their security. Should the government help? If we have technology they don't? Perhaps, but they ought to pay. So NFL, FIFA, I think they ought to pay, and we'll be insisting on trying to put language in that. If you're a for-profit entity and the government's helping you, you ought to pay for it. With regard to TSA Quiet Skies and Tulsi Gabbard situation, I suspect there are going to be other people that were caught up in this thing as well. I'm horrified by the idea that we took a former congresswoman and we're surveilling her and riding on jets with her. There was another story of an air marshal whose wife, might have been at January 6th or something, and now we're, have air marshals following another air marshal or his wife. So I want to hear the whole story of what happened. I want to hear that people have been let go, that they're no longer doing this. If there were abuses of Tulsi Gabbard's liberties, I want to hear from that. But I want repercussions to come from this. And I think you've said something's coming. Please let us know, and let us know how the program the destruction of civil liberties can be minimized. I frankly probably have trouble with the whole program, but let's see if there's some way. But we need significant reform. If it needs legislation, please come to us with that. Thank you for your testimony today.
Thank you.
Thank you again, Secretary Null, for being here.
And you know what we got? Bureaucratic double talk. We've awarded contracts. 598 miles are steel. We've got some temporary fencing, some pending projects. No, sorry, that's not good enough. We are done writing blank checks. We are done funding vague projects without line item receipts. This is not a bake sale. This is the security of the American people. And they want $46 billion without telling us where it's going? They can't even tell us the breakdown. Rand Paul's absolutely right. You could pave the border with gold bricks and still have billions left over. Then Rand Paul pulls out the next bombshell. Let's talk about the NFL and FIFA. These multi-billion-dollar organizations are getting free security coverage from the Department of Homeland Security. Did you know that? While you're working 40, 50, 60 hours a week and struggling to fill your gas tank, the DHS is out here spending your tax dollars to provide surveillance, security, and protection for the Super Bowl and the World Cup. You can't afford a $3,000 ticket to the big game? Too bad, you're still paying to keep it safe. Folks, this is corporate welfare at its most disgusting. These organizations rake in billions in profit every year. The NFL alone made over $18 billion last year. And yet, they expect you, the taxpayer, to cover the cost of their security? Rand Paul hit the nail on the head. If a company is for profit and the federal government is helping them, they should pay. You want to host the World Cup in the U.S.? Fine. But don't you dare charge us for your stadium security while you rake in cash hand over fist. And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, we find out the TSA is running a secret surveillance program called Quiet Skies. Now hang on to your liberty, because this part will make your blood boil. They surveilled Tulsi Gabbard, a former U.S. Congresswoman, a veteran, and a law-abiding citizen, just because she dared to challenge the establishment. They had air marshals riding on flights just to follow her. They even went so far as to track the wife of another air marshal, just because she might have attended a January 6th rally? This is not national security. This is political surveillance. And guess what? Nobody's been fired. Nobody's been held accountable. No heads have rolled. Rand Paul didn't let it slide. He said what we've all been thinking. This is a dangerous abuse of power, and there needs to be an investigation. If you've weaponized the federal government to spy on your political opponents, then you're no better than the regimes we fought against in the Cold War. Let me be very clear. The Constitution is not optional. It's not a suggestion. It's not flexible in times of political disagreement. You do not get to monitor American citizens without probable cause. You do not get to spend $46 billion on a wall and tell us to trust the process. You do not get to siphon taxpayer dollars to billion-dollar sports leagues and call it patriotism. We are not cattle. We are not sheep. And we are not ATM machines for corrupt bureaucrats. This is the moment where we draw the line. We must demand transparency, accountability, fiscal responsibility, and above all, freedom. Rand Paul showed courage. He showed grit. He showed what a true representative of the people looks like. And to every American who's been watching this circus of incompetence and corruption, you're not alone. You've got Right View Nation. You've got millions of fellow patriots standing shoulder to shoulder. And we're not going to be silenced. If you're tired of watching your money get burned, your freedom get trampled, and your government serve elites instead of citizens, then do your part. Like this video. Subscribe to Right View Nation. Share this message with every red-blooded American you know. The Republic isn't dead. It's just been betrayed, and it's time to take it back. God bless you. God bless Rand Paul. And God bless the United States of America. Right View Nation, where truth stands tall and tyranny falls.